I'm so pleased to be joined by Certapro and VIP Integrated Payments today. We've got a lot of information to get through. So Certapro is the Sage X3 Magento certified solution partner. They have the e-link, which connects Sage X3 with the Magento web store. And Simon here is going to talk about how he accomplishes that with the e-link solution, and VIP Integrated Payments is going to talk about how they take all the details of the order and get the best credit card processing payment for that order through the e-link. So thank you everybody for joining us and taking time out of your busy day. We really appreciate it. And Simon, I'm going to go ahead and let you get started.
Sounds good. You can see my screen okay though, yeah?
Yes, we can.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Adrian. I appreciate that. Yeah, once again, I'm Simon Quinn, the Director of Sales with Certapro. Also with me, I have Nick Young, who is one of our senior ERP consultants, as well as the X3 eLink product manager. I'm going to do a brief overview, talk about Certapro's eLink, which is the software connector between X3 and Magento. I'll talk about the concept and also touch on Magento a little bit. And then I'm going to hand it over to Nick, and we'll get into the fun stuff, which is, actually showing you Magento and X3 integrated with eLink. We'll do some transactions. We'll show you some of that functionality, and you'll see what a powerful tool that is. So often successful online businesses will reach a point where they're spending more time and money managing data in both their web store and in Sage, managing product information, pricing, stock levels, customer information, and web orders across two platforms. It can be real problematic, and it becomes a real pain point. So with an e-commerce platform that's seamlessly integrated with X3 using Certapro's eLink software with Magento, key information will now be synchronized between both systems. So this reduces the time spent dealing with data entry in two systems. It maximizes profits and improves customer satisfaction. So Certapro has created a product called eLink, and it's a syncing technology that is a powerful tool which synchronizes data both ways. So now your Sage X3 product and customer information can now be updated to your web store or your web portal 24/7. Your online orders can now be created in X3 and are ready to be processed within minutes. And this is all completed without running manual batch jobs or any manual export, import procedures. It's automatic. So the data securely flows between your X3 and the web store in encrypted files, making your company's backend completely anonymous and secure. Because the web store is hosted outside of your X3 environment, the customer never has direct access to X3. So having an online store means that you're open for business all the time. Now you can have an integrated e-commerce solution with your X3 ERP. So Certapro's eLink software, which now makes it approachable and affordable for businesses to have an online presence for both B2B and B2C scenarios. So I want to take a quick step back and just talk about, what is Magento and why Magento. So Magento is an e-commerce platform, and there's both a community or a free version, if you will. There's also a commerce option available. And the world's biggest brands love Magento for its flexibility because, as we all know, today's consumers and their buying patterns are changing by the minute. So only Magento, which is both open source and agile, can help your customers adapt and thrive. So there's a global ecosystem of over 150,000 developers, and with a network solution partner like Certapro, Magento boosts online sales while maximizing gross margins. So Magento businesses sell more at a lower total cost of operation than merchants on any other competitive commerce platform. So Magento gives you the flexibility to customize and extend your platform, create unique, differentiated, branded experiences. The Magento marketplace is the world's largest and most versatile, offering numerous customized and tested extensions. So these are extensions that can extend a store's features or a web portal's features, any way you want. So how does eLink work? So eLink is actually two parts. So one is an API that runs on top of the Sage server that allows us to talk to Sage using the Sage business objects. So with our eLink API, if you tell it to create an order, it actually creates the order as if you're tapping through all the fields within X3. So it's not just putting data in a database, if you will. Any business logic that's built into X3, we're going to be following all of the same business logic with our eLink API. And you'll see that with Nick's presentation in more detail. And so we built out the software on both sides. So we have it built out on Magento, we have it built out on Sage, and we've built it from the ground up. And doing so gives us the flexibility to create a plethora of different modifications and customizations for yourself or for any of your customers. So we create and author everything in-house, and we only build these applications for Sage. So we are Sage and Magento centric, so it's all we do. We can also take eLink a step further. So Certapro can also provide you with a convenient mobile commerce option. So we have the ability to build and develop native mobile apps, and these apps will be available in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. So if you want that option, we can absolutely talk about that. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to Nick, who is the eLink product manager, and we'll jump into X3 and show you the functionality of this integration. Nick, over to you.
Thank you, Simon. Let's show my screen here. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us. I'm going to run through a demo of eLink so you can see the actual transactions go back and forth between Sage, and then just show you how that all works. So all we've done here is we've taken a fresh copy of Magento. So we just installed Magento on a server. We imported the products into Sage so that we had matching products in Sage, and then we installed our extensions on both Sage and Magento. So all of this is out-of-the-box functionality that you would get with the eLink product. So in our Loomer web store, we'll just go to one of the categories. We'll pick women's tops. We're bringing products in from Sage. So if you create a product in Sage, you can have that automatically sync and create on the website. And we sync all the product information that we have available to us. So you can bring over product names. If you have your descriptions in Sage, you can bring those over. We bring over stock levels, so you can control in stock and out of stock on your website. And Magento has some flexibility, so you can even buy individual product. Go, okay, this product I want to actually control stock using my actual warehouses, and this product I always want to be in stock so the customer can order. So there's a lot of flexibility with Magento as far as stock goes. We do bring over all the Sage pricing, so if you set up your pricing in Sage, that automatically syncs to the website, and the customer sees their price when they log in and they're looking at a product. So you don't have to worry about maintaining prices in two different places. This also supports your B2B users who may have custom pricing levels. When they log in, they get their actual customer price rather than having to deal with retail prices and things like that. So we'll just pick a couple of products from the women's tops page. We'll add these to the cart, and then I'll go through the checkout process so you can see the sales order creation. So I added 2 shirts to the cart. We'll go ahead and go to the checkout. So when we get to the checkout, you'll see that customer address information is here. If you have existing customer relationships and you link their account with a Magento user, it's going to bring over all of their customer information. So they'll get their addresses from Sage. All of their customer information is actually in Magento, so they don't have to go re-enter all of that information. So we'll just pick cheap shipping, free, and then we'll go to the payments. Our product, we offer 2 payment methods that come with our product. One is our credit card extension, which works with a variety of different credit card processors. It will do the pre-authorization at checkout, and we'll actually bring that authorization in with the sales order. So your post-authorization can happen, or your capture can happen during the invoicing process. The second is our Bill Me option. The Bill Me is actually linked to the customer's payment terms and credit hold. So if you set which payment terms you want to be credit card only, if the customer has basically a terms account, then the Bill Me will show up. If they don't, this Bill Me won't be available to them, and they'll have to check out with the credit card. I'm going to go ahead and check out with the credit card so you can see how that transaction works. I have a saved credit card here. Our payment extensions allow you to also put in a separate credit card billing address that might be different than the billing address for the order. So if you have a situation where you're using a corporate card or something like that and you need to use a different billing address, but your invoice needs to go to one, we can support that as well. I'm going to go ahead and just put in the verification number and place the order. And then I'll take you to our account page where we can view that. So we're using what we call live syncing. This is not actually going to Sage and entering the order directly in Sage. We are going to use a queue for this. The reason being, you want your website to stay up, 100% of the time. If your Sage is down for any reason, you're doing database maintenance, you're doing upgrades, whatever reason Sage might not be available, your website can stay up. Customers can still come place orders, they can still print their invoices, they can still make payments on their account. So there's no dependency on Sage actually being available for the website to function. As soon as Sage comes back up, this is just going to start importing and exporting in the background, and you'll see things move. So the pending orders is not yet exported to Sage. As soon as it exports, it'll move to accepted orders. This is not to say that you can't manually do an import or export if you ever need to. So this is the admin panel for Magento. We have an import screen and a queue. So if I go to our queue, that order already moved. So we have our queue and our import screen. So you can individually pick modules you need to do an import on. So say you're importing your invoices only once a day, because this is all granular. You can actually control the schedules for each one of these modules. Say you only import invoices once a day, but you create an invoice in the middle of the day and you need the customer to be able to see that on their account. You could come in at any time. You could select the modules that you want to sync. So we could do invoices and packages, and then we can actually hit sync, and it will sync at that time. So if I go back to my sales order screen, you can see that order moved from pending orders, and now we're actually down here in accepted orders. We have an actual Sage sales order number. Here's your web order number or confirmation number. This is sometimes changed to. And we have all of the order information that actually came from Sage back into the website. So you can see these are the products that we ordered, and then our quantities and pricing. If we made any changes to this information inside of Sage, that would be reflected here as soon as the order syncs back. So you can change your pricing, you can add, remove items, you can even, as soon as the freight is calculated, it could be added here. All of that information will actually display on the customer's account as soon as it's available. So if we go into Sage and we go to orders, so we'll load that order that we just placed. I sorted the wrong way. So you can see we have the order from 10/29 today. That order came in. If we go to credit card processing, you can see we actually did the authorization on that order on the web. From here, I could capture, I'm going to go ahead and void this so that we can actually, we'll invoice this as a terms order so I can show you our payments later. So we'll void that transaction, but the credit card transaction did come in with the order. Like Simon said, we're using business objects. So when we load the customer, all the customer's defaults get loaded, just like as if you're entering the order directly here in Sage, your delivery information. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a terms like we discussed. And then we'll go ahead and invoice this order. So let's go save. We'll just run quickly through manual delivery. And we'll generate our invoice. So I believe my syncing is set up for every 1 to 5 minutes. I don't remember where it's at. So I'm going to go ahead and manually sync these like I discussed so that we can just go ahead and get the invoice to go back to the web quickly. So as soon as I come back in after running that sync, you can see now the sales order that we originally placed has a invoice number that goes with it. So this is the invoice that we just created in Sage. If we view the sales order, at the bottom of the sales order, we get any invoice and tracking information we want. And then if we view that invoice, we actually have the invoice information for the products that actually shipped on this invoice. We have both the sales orders screen that I've been showing you, and then we have an invoices screen where customers can search by invoice or tracking number instead. So we have various searches at the top. All of your tracking information is displayed directly in this grid, and the customer can easily see their invoices and shipments. I showed you, a B2C way to place an order. We went through the shopping experience. We picked a category or searched for a product. We selected it, added it to the cart, and then we checked out. We also have our quick order entry form, which is more like a PO entry for your existing customers who either know what they're going to order or are doing, repeat orders. They can enter an order more like a PO. They can come and they can type in a SKU if they know it. They can search quickly by SKU or description, add the items that they want to add to their order, update their quantities. And then when they hit add to cart and checkout, this is going to add all these products to the cart and go directly to the checkout. So this is a really quick way for your customers to basically enter a PO and get it all the way into your Sage system with minimal effort. So I'm not going to go through that whole process again. We already placed an order and we invoiced it, so I can show you the next section, which is payments. Customers place orders. If you have customers that are on terms, you want them to be able to make payments on their account as well. So we have our payment screen. This will show them all of their payment history. One thing to note about all of our screens, sales orders, invoices, payments, is we're bringing back all of the transaction history from Sage. So whether a customer sends in a check or they make a payment online, when they come in here, their payment history is going to reflect all of their payments. Whether they place an order online or whether you place it directly in Sage by customer service, when they come into their account online, they're going to see all of their order history and all of their invoice history for the account. So even if you're not doing a store, this can also be used as basically a B2B portal where your customers can just come and print invoices and make payments on their account as well. So that's multifunctional. So we're going to go ahead and make a payment. When we get here, all of our credit cards that we save during checkout, or if we go to our payment methods and administer them there, are available in the payment section as well. So this is a credit card that I used during checkout. I click the box to save it. So here I have that same payment method available to me for making a payment on my account later. So we'll go ahead and put our verification number in and we'll select from our open invoices. Here you can see we have that invoice that we just created. I'm going to go ahead and pay this $1,360 invoice. I could pay multiple invoices if I wanted to. I can also do partial payments if you want to allow it. You can disable partial payments where they can only pay full amounts too. So you have a lot of flexibility as far as that's concerned. We'll go ahead and place this payment. Unlike the sales order where we did the pre-authorization, this is actually going to do a capture. So we're going to capture the funds here. You don't have to worry about whether those funds are available at the time you're posting the payment or anything like that. And that'll give me a chance to show you our queues. So for the orders and the payments, like I said, we're doing a queuing system. So that came into our queue and is sitting here with the status new. If there was any sort of error trying to export either an order or payment, that's going to stay in the queue. It'll have the error message here, and then you'll get an alert about, the fact that it couldn't export. You'll get an email alert that it couldn't export an order, and it'll have the reason why it couldn't export. I'm going to go ahead and manually export this. You can see we created that payment. So we'll go look at that payment in Sage now. Let's close out of all of this. And we'll go to our payments. Okay, so we're going to go to our credit card receipts. And you can see the first one that came up is our payment from today. We brought in, it's already applied to the invoices the customer selected online. So there's no manual entry as far as trying to figure out what they're trying to pay with the payment. It'll all come in automatically applied, and then all you have to do is basically post it. If we go to credit card processing, you can see down here we actually captured our payment, and this is already applied to the payment. So all this has to do is post it, and it's in the customer's account, and it's reflected in their balance. So this is just a brief view of some of the functionality we have for eLink. We have some other integrations as well. If you have any questions or you want to see more or a more detailed demo that's specific to your company, you can reach out to me or Simon and set that up. Simon, I'm going to pass this back to you to wrap up. Again, I appreciate everybody joining us. Thanks.
Great. Thanks so much, Nick. So we just wrapping up here, I just want to talk quickly about what Certapro can do for you above and beyond what you saw here. We know that from our experience that there's no two websites or web portals that are going to be the same. Every site has a unique look and feel. So whatever the situation is, Certapro, we are a Gold Sage development partner, but we're also a Magento technology partner, and we have Magento developers in-house. So if you need an end-to-end e-commerce solution or a business partner portal, we can manage the entire process for you. If you just need the eLink software piece to connect X3 to your existing website, we can work with your Sage business partner or web development team to provide recommendations and solutions to get that accomplished. So we work with many individual end user customers as well as Sage business partners to meet all of their individual e-commerce needs. So with that, I appreciate everybody's time, and I know we'll have a question and answer at the end of this, and we'll pass this over to VIP Payments. Thanks so much.
As you can see, my X3 is just a little bit different, and this kind of parlays into our payments integration works on any version of X3 from 5.5 to current, and any future integration. So as you move from version to version of X3, the payments capability will be able to follow with you from version to version as well. So the way I always start off inside X3 is within your customer record. So not every way of accepting payments is kind of the same. So I always start within the actual customer, because this is where, you know, you might have a customer that you have on the phone, and they might say, you know, hey, my manager gave me the credit card that we're actually going to use. Can I give that to you now? And then we'll process our order tomorrow or next week, right? So if you go into the customer record and go to the financials tab, you'll see the credit card button here as well. So from here, this is where you can actually store the card data. Now for PCI compliance purposes, that data is not physically stored within inside Sage, because again, that would not be PCI compliant. So what we do is we tokenize and encrypt that card data and store it to the vault outside of Sage, basically meaning that we convert that credit card number to a series of numbers, letters, and symbols. And so when you want to use the stored card, it pings the payment gateway in order to be able to actually process that transaction. So you can see on this particular customer, these are the cards that I have stored on this customer. So it's not like you're going to have a long laundry list of all the cards you have stored inside your system. It's going to be stored to that particular customer. So if I wanted to see any of the data, you could see this card's a Visa ending in 111. This is a Visa or a MasterCard ending in 0065. So that way you can be able to see and manage it as well. You can also choose if it's the default card or not. And that way, as you bring up your sales orders or invoices or cash receipts, and you choose the payment type credit card, that default credit card will populate first. Now, if you want to store a brand new card, just click the plus sign, and then you can give it an account nickname. This could be any name that you want it to be. Some people have it as a person's name. Some people have it as a location. What I found is a lot of people will just use the last 4 digits of the card as the nickname, and that way you can reference to that. So if I enter in a brand new card, I can call this test 1234. I'll put the person's name, so we'll just put test demo. And then you can also put the person's email address in here. Notice that the address information is already pre-populated. So whatever address that you have stored to the customer record, that will pre-populate. You can always overwrite it if you want. But if you want to put the person's email address so that they can receive an emailed receipt confirmation, you can put the email address in that field as well. So from here, if I'm going to store the card, just click the create button. And then this will launch to the payments gateway, where then you can actually store the encrypted card. So I'll just put in the card number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then expiration date. And then we'll click submit. And then now you can see that the card's been saved to the gateway. And then it's bringing that vault entry back inside Sage. So now we have that test 1, 2, 3, 4 stored to that particular customer record. So now we'll click close from here, and you can see that test 1, 2, 3, 4 is right here. So this will help speed up your process, right? Because now you're not storing the cards in a file cabinet, or hopefully you're not storing it in a Excel file or anything like that. So you can help optimize your sales channels by having that data stored directly inside the software. So from here, we'll now enter in a sales order. So So as I enter in the sales order, I'll just do a full entry. And then we'll click the plus sign to add a new invoice. And so I'm going to enter in the customer. And we'll do international distributors. Now we'll go to the invoicing tab. And so payment terms, this customer is defaulted to a net 30. So I'm going to change the payment terms to credit card. And then we'll enter in what we're selling to the customer. So we'll sell them an iPhone today. And we'll sell just one of them. So now that we have everything built, we're creating the invoice, attaching it to the customer, payment terms is credit card. So as we create this sales order, and you don't have to go directly into sales order. You can also go directly into invoicing and process payments that way as well. So as I click create, this will launch the credit card processing window, where then we can use the default card. We gave it the nickname 1111. You can also use the card for a one-time use card. So that way you're not storing it to the vault or anything like that. You're just processing it one time. Or we can use the magnifying glass to see the cards that we have stored on file. So if we wanted to use that card that we just stored, the test 1234, we can select that. And then now we can submit that transaction. Now there's a couple of different ways in your setup. We can either charge the card as we can authorize the payment right now, or we can just select the card so that when you go to deliver when you go into your delivery or your shipping, that's when it will actually charge the card. So we have a couple different options of when you actually want to charge the card. You can either select it so it's charged at delivery, or we can select it so that it gets charged right now. So as I click submit, you can now see that that card's been authorized. You have the document number, the date, the dollar amount, the Visa card. All that information is then stored directly inside of Sage. So you can even see the authorization code, date, authorized, all that information. So now that we're done here, we can click close. Now we've also written an integration to where if you wanted to print an actual credit card receipt from Sage, we can do that within the header section. But from here, we'll just go directly into delivery. We'll do full entry. And we'll validate it. And now we can invoice. So as we invoice, it's going to convert that payment. So when we did the transaction, we pre-authorized it. And that way, if the invoice changes between order to invoicing, you can modify that without having to actually void the transaction. So that way you'll pre-authorize it for the order, and then when you capture and post, it'll capture it for the total invoice amount. And that's what I'm showing on the demo right now. If you want to view prepayments where maybe you want to do a partial payment and then the remaining amount on a net 30, we can do that as well. So from here, again, looks like my remote desktop. So from here to capture that payment, we just click post. And now you can see that it's created the document. So it's in the payment creation, the invoice creation, everything. And then so if we close out of this, we can now see in our functions that the credit card has now been captured for the total invoice amount. So we pre-authorized it for $1,400, but with discounts and everything, we captured it for the total dollar amount of $945.13. So that's how you would process it within sales order, as well as invoicing. Now, if the way you operate is, you mainly have customers on terms, and so if a customer, you could either use the e-link and have customers pay via the customer portal, or if the customer calls in and you have one of your CSRs answer the phone and the customer wants to pay via phone, then you can go into your receipt entry. I'm going to go to my RECCC for credit card receipts, and then we'll do a new entry. So I'm going to enter in my North America customer. And so if I go to my open items, you can see all the open invoices that I have for this particular customer. So if this customer wants to pay, and say they want to pay this invoice number 24, we can either choose that they're going to pay the full dollar amount, which is $945, or maybe this customer just wants to pay a partial payment for $250. So that way we can apply that $250. And then so now that we have everything built, we can create this entry. And again, just like within the sales order window, you'll start to see kind of how repetitive it gets and how easy it is to process directly within X3. So where it opens up the credit card processing window where you can now choose to enter a card for one-time use, use the default card, use any of the cards stored on file. Now, you can also charge the card and store the card at the same time too. So if you enter in a brand new nickname, so if I do demo, I can enter in the person's information, and then as I click submit, it will create the token and charge the card at the same time as well. So a little added benefit, that way you can charge the card and store the card, or enter for one-time use, or use any of the cards stored on file. So now I'll just click submit. And again, now the card's been authorized. So we can click close from here. And then the only thing that we have to do, depending on your setup and how you set it up, you can either post it one by one, or you can have it set up to where you can do a batch posting via bank posting, and then capture all the payments via bank posting as well. So we'll just click post. We'll put today's date. And now we're completed with that transaction. So you can see the document creation and the payment creation for that. So the only thing that you have to do within Sage, and I always use that as a cheat sheet within your milestones, is that you can see that the receipt's being posted, and all you have to do after that is your bank posting, and you're complete. So I hope this showcased how this eliminates all the manual data entry. So now you can process the payments, store the payment information inside X3. So you'll be speeding up your entire process, eliminating all the double data entry if you're taking payments outside your software via a terminal on the counter or logging into a website to process payments. It also automates all of your reconciliation process because you're doing everything inside of Sage. So that way, as you process payments and the dollar amounts post to your bank account, which we do next day funding, so that will also help improve your cash flow, because you'll be able to get your money next day as well. But you'll be able to pull the reports and then auto reconcile all your payments within X3. Another high level point is that the application inside of X3 is a PCI Council validated application. So you're operating in a fully PCI compliant environment. So we're taking all the risk of operating credit card data and eliminating the kind of risks with processing credit cards. So just know that you're operating in the PCI Council validated application. And then we integrate with all Sage ISVs, including Certapro. So that way, you know, as more feature functionality built out inside of X3, like cloud EMV and the ability to swipe credit cards inside of X3, we also do that as well.
Let me jump in here real quick, Tom. This is Maya. I want to be very clear. With X3, you have a native integration in there. What VIP does is we assist in setting up the merchant account for that native integration. We can service support. We do all of that for you at no charge. And the integration, the native integration inside of X3 is at no charge as well. I just wanted to add that piece. So I will hand it back over to Tom.
Great. So that's kind of the integration inside of X3 itself. As Maya was saying, support is key. So we offer 24/7, 365 support. It's all based in the US. So feel free to call us, text us, email us. These are actually our cell phone numbers, not a 1-800 number. So feel free to reach out to us with any questions or concerns as well. And we look forward to working with you and helping your business grow.
Thank you so much, Maya, Tom, Simon, and Nick. I'm going to go ahead and flash up the contact information for both of the presenters. And I did record this webinar. I will be sending out a copy of the recording after the webinar and the contact information for the presenters. And thanks again, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week and weekend, upcoming weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.